guys how to make this off one shoulder neckline dress, and for that I'm going to be using about 2.5 yards of fabric, but you can use any amount you want. You can use 3 yards depending on your size also. So this is first thing you're going to do is to cut what you use at the bottom of your dress. So for me, how you're going to determine the bottom of the dress, that's the length you will use for it, is just basically you're going to subtract your half length, that's your shoulder to waist, from the full length of the dress. So guys, basically you're going to subtract your shoulder to your waist, that's half length, from the full length of the dress, right? So from the shoulder to waist is 17 for me, and then the full length I'm working with is 42. That's from my shoulder to my just below my knee is 42. So I'll subtract this 17 from the 40. So if I subtract it, I'll get 25. So the bottom of my dress length will be 25. So 25, I'm going to add 1.5 to it. So that's how I have 26.5 here. 1 inch is for folding the end, and half an inch is for joining the top part to the upper part of it to the top body. So with that done, we're going to set this aside. And then to determine the width you will use for display, you can just measure round your waist. So round your waist measurement, you can measure your waist, maybe use times 2 of it or times 3 of it. So whatever you get, let's say you get like 100, when you multiply it times 2 or times 3, that's what will be the width that you're going to use for your girder. So normally people like to use maybe 2.5, but if you're going for like a lot of girder, you might want to make it times 3. So I'm going to set my bottom part aside. So now we'll move to the main part, which is the body. So guys, now the next thing I did is to cut out the pattern I'm using for my front, for the top part. So basically how I got the measurement is, this fabric is folded, right? As you can see, it's folded into 2. And how I got the width is just my bust measurement divided by 4 plus extra like 1.5 or 1 inch, depending on how much ease you want to have on the inside. So I'm using 1.5 for the ease I want on the inside of my clothes. So my bust measurement is 42, divided by 4 is 10.5. So and then plus extra 1.5, that's why I have 12 inches when the fabric is folded this way. So I'm dividing it by 4 because the fabric is folded into 4, right? 2 pieces here is for the front panel, 2 pieces for the back panel. So what I'm going to do now for the length is just my shoulder to waist divided my shoulder to waist, which is 17, plus 1 inch, that's 18. 1 inch because half an inch will be for attaching this top part to the bottom girder, and 1 inch is for joining the other half an inch is for joining the shoulder. So that's why I got this extra 1 inch. So basically your shoulder to waist plus 1, and then the width plus whatever you want to use, 1.5 or 1 inch for just your seam allowance. So the next thing I'm going to do now is draw my normal bodice, right? I will still make a different video how to do it using a princess dart, but because I'm trying to make this for someone that is just trying to learn how to do it. So this is like the basic way of doing it. So as you can see, the second fabric is folded. This is my front panel. My back panel has like extra 1.5 for the zip allowance. So this is it here. So now we'll join our basic body. So we are going to start with the front panel. So my shoulder measurement is 16. So I'm going to mark that here. Divided by 2, that's 8. So I'm going to mark that 8 inches from the distance of my front panel to the other end here. And then I'm going to join my armhole, which is 20. Divided by 2, that's 10. And then I'm going to just connect the 2 lines together. And then after that, I'm going to come down here by 1 inch, marking my neckline 3 inches by, I'm just going to try to mark it 3 inches by 3 inches. Just drawing your normal neckline this way. Give it a curve this way. And then I'm going to connect this 1 inch I came down here is for my shoulder slant. And then after that, I'm going to go down to the waist. So my waist measurement is 36 divided by 4. That's going to be 9. So 9, this 9, I'm going to add extra 1 inch to the 9. That's for my dart. and then I'm going to add extra the same 1.5 I added here for my seam allowance, so that's going to be 11.5. So I'm going to just mark that here, and then I'm going to connect it to this end here, because I did check for my bust, because my bust is already the measurement I use in folding this fabric. So if I check it again, it's going to be the same thing. 42 divided by 4, that's 10.5, plus extra 1.5 inches, that's going to be 12. So that's why I didn't check it, because that's the main measurement we used in folding the fabric. So I'm going to just give this a curve here for my armhole, and then I'm going to come in here midway, like at 5 inches here. I'm going to just give it, come in by half an inch, and then connect it here this way all the way up here. So after that, now I'm just going to go ahead, cut my shoulder slope. So guys, after that, now I'm going to go ahead and mark my neckline for the back. So I'm going to use 1 inch for that. So this is just how you normally draw your basic bodice, right? So I'm going to also open up this back panel for my zip. So guys, this is what it looks like. I've cut out my back neckline, but for my front neckline, I just want to leave it the way it is right now. The next thing I'm going to do is this, my back panel. I'm going to just take a pin and hold it down. Let me just mark it so I know how much I have for my back panel, right? If you want, you can just go and use a loose stitch to hold it down before you start cutting it, because I want to just take a pin and just pin this down. So guys, I've used pin to hold down my back panel. So I just want to act as if I've put in the zip, but this is what I wanted to use it for. So I'm just going to hold it down this way now. If you want, you can open it up this way, and then you place your front panel and figure out where you want your off shoulder to be. If you want it, just make sure that everything is equal. The shoulder to shoulder is placed, everything is placed together, and then you figure out, okay, do you want the off shoulder on this side or on this side? So I'm just going to go with my right side, which is this side. So I'm just going to go with this side here, and then I'm going to just come down. It depends on what you want. You can come down 5 inches, 3 inches, 2.5 inches. It depends on you. I'm just going to come down by 3 inches from that point here, and then you're going to, so 3 inches from this shoulder slope, I've marked it here. You're going to place your tape here and connect the two lines together, right? You just make a straight line all the way to this end with using your ruler. But you know, if you use this the way it is now, it will choke you at the top of this pad because it's too high. So you might want to just go ahead and just freestyle it and give it a slant, like bring your hand down and then connect it up here. But for the purpose of the one I'm using this fabric for, it has the one on the thumbnail has a boat neck, so it's not like this kind of neckline. It doesn't go straight from this point. It has a boat neck, so meaning that the neck is wider. So for that, to make a boat neck, normally whatever is left on your shoulder like this, like let's say you have, for me now is about 5 inches, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to find half of 5 inches, which is 2.5. And then from that 2.5 is going to be my new neckline. That's how you normally do your boat neck. So this 2.5 now is going to be my line that I'm going to use. So I'm going to just put it this way and connect it, make my line. So this is going to be my line here. And then because of this line that I made, I'm going to just give my own curve, right? I'm just going to give it my own curve. If you want, you can bring it down more. I think I'm going to bring it down more. And then connect it to this 3 inches here. So this is going to be, because I don't want it too low, since it's going to be this wide. But if you just want the shoulder normally on this side, just what you're going to do is connect it to this point. But if you're working with a boat neck, you might want to extend it more. Just bring it down more. You don't have to do the same as in dividing it by 2. You can just make the one remaining to be more than the one you're using. Like maybe make it, leave 3 inches here and just use 2 inches and cut off 2 inches. Or you can do it like the normal boat neck and just divide it into 2, whatever you have on this side. So I'm just going to cut this out. So guys, this is it here. I've gone ahead and cut mine out. So now at this point you can go ahead and cut out your lining for everything you're using, but I'm not going to be using lining. Cut out your lining, padding, whatever you're using. This is basically it here. So now we'll move over to the sleeve. So for my sleeve, I'm just going to measure out what I have here on the normal armhole, right? So I'm going to measure it out. I have about 11.5 inches. So I'm going to fold my fabric. You see how my fabric is. This is what I have left from the fabric. So I'm going to just fold it into two this way, right? And then fold it again. So I just want to know what I'm working with here. So guys, this is it here. So that 11 inches, I'm going to check 11.5 that I got here. I can check and see that it fits in. So what I'm going to do is to come down by 4 inches for my cap, my sleeve cap here, and mark the 4 inches. So guys, this is it here. So after marking your shoulder, the cap here, I'm going to just place my tape this way from this point to this point here. So I have about 12 inches. I'm going to just mark it straight. Just mark a straight line using your ruler down to this point. Find the midway for you. And then for me, my midway is 6 inches here. I'm going to just mark it this way. And then give it also another, like a crescent smooth shape here. Up. One on top here. And then one from this midway here down. One facing up and then another one facing down. So after that, you're going to go ahead and cut this out. And then I'm going to check my sleeve width, which is 13. 13 divided by 2, that's going to be 6.5, right? So I'm going to mark that here. And then I'm going to add extra 1 inch to it for my seam allowance and then connect it. So I'm going to just cut this out. So after that, I'm going to go ahead, notch this end here, and then I'm going to remove one of this. So one is going to be the normal sleeve, so right, I'm going to cut out my 2 sleeves. I'm going to take one out for my normal shoulder. So now we are going to deal with the one for this shoulder that doesn't have the off shoulder part of it, right? So remember, it's 3 inches that we cut out from this top part here. So whatever you use, if it's 3 inches, 2.5, whatever you use. So what you're going to do is, that's why I said notch the center, so that you know that this is your center here. So this is my notch here. So I'm just going to mark it, my chalk on it. And then from this, I'm going to just place my tape and know that this is 3 inches and just mark all the way. So I'm just going to keep moving my tape all the way and mark 3 inches. 3 inches distance from this particular point here, and just keep marking it all the way around. So this is it here. I've marked it out here. So at this point, you can just go ahead and cut it out. Or if you feel like that will be more difficult for you, just know that that's your point here. And another thing you can do is just take your tape and just keep marking. Instead of opening it up to mark it, you can just keep it this way and just mark out your 3 inches or whatever you want to use. So it's still the same whether you open it this way to mark it all the way, or it is folded when you're marking it. So I'm going to cut mine out. So guys, as you can see, this is what it looks like here. So basically like this. And then when you go and attach this sleeve, you see it's already falling in place, and this is the hole here. So now what you have to do is to cut out your lining for all the pieces, but like I said, I'm not using lining for mine, so I'm just going to go ahead and start placing in my dart. So to place in my dart, all I have to do is the way this fabric is now. So this is my back panel, this is my front panel, right? So I'm just going to place it this way. So what you're going to do is to mark your breast point. So for me, that's going to be 8 divided by 2, that's 4. So you're going to mark it. So I'm going to just mark my 4 inches here, and then you're going to just, so my shoulder to bust is at 11 inches, right? So I'm going to stop about 1 inch or 2 inches before that. So I'm going to stop at 13. My dart will stop at 13 here. So I'm going to just mark that 4 inches this way. So this is where my dart will stop, and connect the line together. And then I'm going to mark half an inch here, half an inch on this side too. So, and then you're going to connect it this way up to this point. So that's how you're going to put in the dart. So you're going to go to your sewing machine, hold this down, and just give it a dart here. Give it a dart on the other side. The same goes for the back too. So the way it's placed this way, remember you have your seam allowance here. So the way it is now, so you might want to notch it. So you might want to notch it all the way, so that you know that your dart is going to be all the way on this here. But the one at the back, I'm going to stop from my shoulder to my chest line, which is somewhere about 7, from here to about 7. So my dart is going to go up all the way to 7, from my shoulder to 7 and stop. So that's where my dart at the back will stop. The same thing that you did for the front. Give it half an inch on this side, half an inch on this side, and just connect it all the way to the top. So that's basically it for now. So I'm just going to go ahead. So if you're using lining, go ahead and place in your lining and put in your darts. So I'm going to do mine now. Guys, I'm going to now take my bias. So I've cut out this strap here. Like I said, I'm not using lining, but you can always go ahead and use lining. Just basically join the shoulder of the shoulder together of the front and back after putting in your darts. And then after that, you put your normal sleeve, and then you go ahead and just take this, wherever this one starts and wherever this starts, you just continue like how you normally put your sleeve. Fold it and then close up the side. So after that, now I'm just going to take my bias and run it around the neck and the sleeve here. And also, I'd like to go ahead and cut out about, not like half an inch, maybe like 0.75 from the end here, because remember, you don't have any bust at the back, is in front. And sometimes when you attach it directly without reducing the back length, it makes the girder at the back a little bit low. So and sometimes it makes the zip bulky. So what I like to do is just subtract about sometimes half an inch or sometimes 0.75 and just blend it in. I don't reach to the side, I just blend it in all out, but I don't get to the side here, the side seam under the armhole. So you just blend it in from this side up here. So I've removed that now. So what is left, and I've also finished up the top with bias. So what is left now for me to do is to join the bottom and the top. And you see what I did here, I folded my fabric into 2 first, and then I marked the center. So you see, I folded it into 2 now. So this is the center and this is the center back here where the zip will fall in. I folded it equally. So after that, I folded it again. So now I know the half of it. So this is here, the half, and this is the half. So if this is going to be my back and this is going to be the center front, that means this mark here is going to be on the side. So how I normally do it is I just mark it or notch it so that when I'm gathering it, I normally like to start from the center, and this mark here is the center. So I just place it this way on my sewing machine. So find the center of this here. So like this is the center here. So the center of the fabric itself. So I'm just going to find the center of the top part here. And this is the center here. So the 2 centers, I'm going to put it together. And then like when I go to my sewing machine, I just like to just push it together this way. That's how I like to gather my own. If you want, you can just go ahead and make a loose stitch and then gather it on your own, but I'm already used to doing it this way. So I place my normal fabric, the body of this here, and then I have this under. So I just pull it together and then I keep sewing. And this one is left straight. This is left straight this way, and then I just pull this together. And then once I get to the side of my top, you see my side stitch here where the top meets where the front meets the back. I just make sure that is on this mark, this chalk mark that I made here. So this is the side to the side here, and then the end here is where my zip will fall in. So I know that this much here is the girder I need for this space. So that's how I distribute my girder evenly. So I'm just going to go ahead and put in my girder and then go ahead and put in the zip too. So guys, this is it here. I'm done. Everything is done. The back has the zip already. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like, share and subscribe. Bye.